You're listening to For Better and Worse with Jess and Rach. At it again.
Let's do a take two here.
Oh, yesterday we could say I was in a bad way. Is that fair to say?
Way. I would say it's fair.
But just, life, owning a podcast, trying to do it. But now Jess is in a bad way today, so
we're just gonna roll with it.
We're gonna roll with it. You guys are here with us.
I'm back.
She's back and not necessarily better than ever. But you're here.
Yeah. Crawled out of the COVID cave to come here to record. I'm back.
Yes. And you're feeling much better.
I am
never
feeling
really
much
felt
better.
Too bad, but.
Right. I mean, yes. Will I get to attend my Thanksgiving dinner tonight? No. Am I feeling better and probably will swing by and grab a plate? Yes.
Yes.
So it is what it is. Got to respect the family's boundaries.
I just think it sucks. Like I know I had COVID almost a year ago, and it's just like the stigma that comes with having it. And even if you're following everything the CDC says, it's like people that know that you've had it are like,
right.
And it's just weird.
Yeah, I had a pretty shitty experience with telling people I had COVID, the stigma that comes along with that. I guess in my experience, I just felt personally that it is everyone's looking out for themselves. And I get that. And that this is a very scary thing. But when you have it, people forget that
it's not about how you got it or what you could have done differently. It's like you're sick.
That's how you're feeling. Right. Yeah. And it is really isolating and it's scary to have it. You go your entire existence trying to avoid it. Right. Yeah. And you do all that you can. And, to do your best to not get it. When you get it, you're like, oh shit. And when your family and friends or people that you tell, or people you come in contact with are less than supportive or empathetic or anything, it just was a real shit feeling. But obviously I got through. I was very lucky to be quarantined with my husband because the isolation part was really hard. And I feel like when you're in quarantine or when everything shut down, everything was shut down,
Right, yeah.
And,
so you felt like there's nowhere I can go anyway.
Right. And I just felt like life is still going on and I'm, quarantined to my house. And for an Enneagram 7 and someone who has severe FOMO, a lot of things were going on around me and things that I were missing out on. And it was just making me depressed. I cried a lot. Maybe it was good to let some of the emotions out because it's pretty rare that I get a good cry in lately. Yeah. So it was.
We love a good cry.
We do. I do. I used to in high school, I used to make myself cry weekly. Oh, I used to love it.
What?
I don't know. I just listened to a sad song and I'm like, oh yeah, I'm crying tonight. 100%.
It's coming.
But it was easy then, you could literally think of just something that happened that day. Be like, ooh, like fucking teenage hormones. Your life, you felt like it was the worst.
Yeah.
Like in reality, it's like that was a small problem, Jess.
Was it the 9/11 song? Baby, all that I want. That one would get me when I was little.
Wait, why is it the 9/11 song?
Because they put a track to a kid that called their dad who died in the attacks to it. You've never heard this?
No, like my
message us if you know exactly what we're talking about. I'm talking about.
I don't remember this clip.
Oh my God, scarring. Scar you for life.
And that song is actually pretty upbeat. I know that's the ballad version.
Yeah.
But
listen to your heart.
Yeah, mine was like Counting Crows, the deep cuts, like Anna Begins. If you know, you know.
We were on different sides of the universe.
Yeah. Hey, you know what else happened while I was gone? The Taylor Swift album came out. I just wanted to check on you. Is everyone okay with the all too well 10-minute version? I think
that's
we all just need a mental health check-in.
Also, message us. My episode idea is to do a full breakdown of the all too well 10-minute version. Because I've now listened to the all too well 10-minute version 10 times more than I've ever listened to the original.
It's on an endless loop in my house. So
yeah, I mean, it's great stuff. But yeah, when we did the breakup song episode, Jess talked about the All Too Well, and I was just shaking my head like, yeah, I know that song.
You didn't?
No, I had no idea what you're talking about.
No way.
I was just like generalizing Taylor Swift. Like, okay, yeah, I kind of get what this. I'd never heard it.
You didn't even know the hype?
No. So, but a lot of people wrote it in.
Dude, the fuck Jake Gyllenhaal is killing me.
Oh, it's so good.
It was like years ago at this point.
My favorite thing is the TikTok bite of like Billy on the street who's running around, and he's like, this was years ago, like, $1, give $1 for name the celebrity you hate the most, and they're like, Jake Gyllenhaal. Yes, here you go. And I love that soundbite, and it's been making a comeback.
Oh my gosh, I was scrolling TikTok, and this girl was like, she has this like British accent too. She's like, or I don't know, maybe it's Australian. She's like, I don't follow Taylor Swift. I'm not a big fan. I have no idea about her life, but if I see that cheeky motherfucker, oh my God, yes. I was dead. I'm like, the Swifties are crazy.
Oh, it's contagious.
But like, after really deep diving on the All Too Well, I mean, I guess we can get to it in another episode, but the storytelling is immaculate.
Yeah. See, we will do an episode on it.
We'll wait. We'll pause. We'll table that and come back.
Because we also have to do an episode on Adele's 30 album.
We do.
So Jess needs to give it some more listens. And I do too, honestly. But
really got to feel it. It's a saddie.
Yeah, but it's so relatable. Like, I was listening to like an Adele mix this morning, and I just feel like she's just written about my life. You know?
Well, good. That'll be a nice emotional episode for you.
I'll lead that. I'll
follow.
It's about divorce, babes. Divorce. So I've been there. I've been down that road. Okay, let me see. I've written some things down.
Yeah.
What else is going on?
Also, Thanksgiving.
Oh, yes.
Hope you guys made it through.
How y'all doing? Day after Thanksgiving? Give us your tea. We kind of wanted to do a Thanksgiving episode, like, about funny stories or something, but, like, we couldn't really find any. But
if you guys have some that just happened, just let us know.
Yes.
Embarrassing, funny, awkward. I mean, were your boundaries just trampled on by your racist family members? Let us know.
Please let us know.
We would love to know.
Although this might be too late, I feel like some people might still be celebrating Thanksgiving this weekend, whatever.
Could be.
But either way, I came across this New Yorker Cartoons Instagram post about least divisive topics for holiday family dinners. The holiday season is on its way. Here are some topics to avoid screaming across the edge of an ocean-wide crater dividing you and your loved ones. So use this for any Thanksgiving. Any belated Thanksgiving celebrations, or Christmas.
Family holidays moving forward.
Number one topic: babies. We were all one at some point, and they're generally believed to be cute. Perhaps go around the table and discuss if you're more of a teeny toes nibbler or a yiddle belly squisher.
Oh.
Avoid talking about fetuses, maternity leave, and obviously Texas.
Yes.
Number 2, trees. They allow us to breathe, and people seem to like that. Also, wood is nice. Yes, talk about trees. Avoid discussing deforestation, the Amazon, forest fires caused by climate change. 3, pants. What's not to like? Legs go in them, etc. We all have a favorite pair. Avoid discussing gendered fashion, the ecological ramifications of fast fashion, and clothing factory working conditions. Number 4, Paul Rudd.
What's controversial about Paul Rudd?
No, you don't. You can. These are subjects you can talk about.
Okay, good. Yes.
And there's no caveat. You can just talk about Paul Rudd.
Also, because
he's the sexiest man alive.
And he is.
Yeah.
Dude, he is probably funniest man alive.
Could be.
It's top 5. It's top 5 for me.
You have to see people in person. I truly believe that. Like, I believe the funniest female comedian is Kate McKinnon. Not necessarily because of like what I've seen her in or her on SNL, but because I think she'd be the funniest person to like sit down and have dinner with.
Dude, you know that that show Hot Ones where you eat hot wings with this guy and he just interviews you? I watched the Paul Rudd. He's hilarious. Just down to earth, was fucking funny the entire time.
Yeah.
And if you don't laugh at slapping the bass, and I love you, man, are you even human? That's the funniest fucking scene. Are you kidding me? you're in a bad mood, seriously, just pull that up on YouTube. Give it a watch.
He's a good one. Okay, number 5, traffic. Everybody hates traffic, right? If you do like traffic, your hot take would probably be something about slowing down and finding peace among the chaos. But for the most part, we can all agree that traffic is bad. Avoid discussing carbon emissions, Robert Moses, and driverless cars. That could be. And then it just says happy holidays, and there's a little baby.
So cute.
So, keep those in your back pocket.
Yes. Talk about anything besides
Anything other than
religion,
COVID,
politics,
the government.
As we know. But they always end up coming up. You know what you do? Change the fucking topic. Yeah. Pivot around it. You just like, you know what? This food is great.
Yeah. And you can always,
bring up the weather.
If you're me, you say, do you really want to have this conversation? Or are you just trying to make me uncomfortable?
Oof.
And then
I do not.
Drop it down.
I just give that awkward smile, like give Joe a look, and we change the topic. Lovely weather we are having.
Well, like I'm like, it's like, I'm not going to engage with this today. It's inappropriate. So just shut the fuck up. You don't have to engage. You can just be like, hey, I know you're making these comments to make me uncomfortable or try to engage with something. Today's not that day.
Yeah. That asshole
Also,
knows what they're doing.
Exactly. It's never the day. It's never the day because you're never going to change their mind.
Yeah.
That's what's frustrating.
Yeah.
But,
talking about things we can't control.
But also, speaking of Thanksgiving, guess what we're doing tonight? Laura's coming into town.
Oh, yay.
It's the day before Thanksgiving. What does everybody do?
Oh, we go to the bars.
The hometown bars.
Oh.
Is there a name for that?
No, not that I know of. Nothing clever or funny. No, it's just the night before Thanksgiving.
The night before Thanksgiving.
Last time I did it was 4 years ago.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. I celebrate with my family always on the Wednesday before. Like we have already blocked that off for years now. But I did end up going out 4 years ago.
Nice.
And we ended up at the hometown strip club.
Okay.
Shout out Christie's. If you know, you know. Dead. It's in
That
Brunswick.
is a different kind of experience I'm intending on having today.
You know Brunswick. We don't fuck around.
I'm going to stop by Ray's place.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe get some Cajun fries.
But I feel like Kent is the liberal arts school. Okay? There's cool people going out there.
It's just towny. It's just like our hometown
you'll
people.
You'll find your townies, but there's also cool college kids there.
Yeah. Josh always gets this anxiety before we do this.
Who wouldn't?
But I'm like, Josh, once you get there, you're high-fiving everyone. You're like, hey, man. And I'm like, and now you're dating me?
Do you know you're going to see people from high school?
We did last time. I did 2 years ago. And it's the only time I ever see them. Even though we all, a bunch of us still live in Kent or around Kent. It's
literally, I
still will only see them.
I've known you since 2018, and I would bet $1 million that you would never fucking show face at a night like tonight at a bar in your hometown.
I did it 2 years ago. Laura does it, and so when
Laura does it, okay.
So I would never do it by myself. God,
this makes sense. Laura's
no, but I also started going out to bars in my divorce phase. I was like, oh, look at me, and then COVID hit, so no more bars.
Yeah.
In the same way. So, but Ray's place, always a good time. I think that's probably where we'll go. That's Laura's go-to one.
Ours is some hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Nothing cool at all. And it's just in my hometown. There's a few spots where you're gonna run into people.
Yeah.
It's always a wild night.
We'll see how it goes. I will report back.
Yeah, I would love to hear.
I will report back.
Who we run into.
Let's see. Oh yeah. An update for those on the pod that are listening. I believe it was 2 weeks ago when I announced that Josh and I were looking for a house.
Oh, yeah. And
somehow yesterday we were signing papers at our loan officer because apparently the media has been lying to me about how hard it is to buy a house.
Yeah, walk me through this process because I hear it's hell and you did it in a week, maybe 2 weeks tops, which is insane. But I will say before you and Josh are pretty easily pleased. There were things on your list, but it was there are some people who are sticklers about more things than you and Josh were.
Well, there were also things on our list, and then as soon as we started looking, we were like, "This isn't practical."
Right.
And my one thing was like, I really don't want to get in a bidding war about something. And so also just with our budget, and we didn't have the luxury of even being able to like buy a house that's like the kind of house that people bid on, like we're in Akron, and like a neighborhood. Is it just a neighborhood?
Is it a suburb?
Suburb, kind of.
What makes it a suburb?
It's technically a city of Akron, but it's like a town called, or like a suburb called Ellet. What the fuck?
Whatever it is,
Whatever
it's
it is,
a town,
whatever.
and it's where Rach will reside.
But it's like notoriously kind of like the most family friendly area in Akron. Like the schools are pretty good and whatever. So when we narrowed in that, we were like, okay, I think we're only going to look in Ellet, just because we looked at some other neighborhoods and it was kind of like, this is a bit sketch. Which is like buying a house in Cleveland too. It's just like I think any city that you're buying within is like street by street. You're like, this is a great street. And then you turn like 2 rights and you're like, and there are some serious issues here.
Right.
So Ellet is much less like that. There's like a high school space. The high school is basically in our backyard. And when we narrowed in on the kind of the neighborhood, there were 2 houses for sale in that neighborhood within our budget that we were interested in looking at. I liked the first one. Josh liked the second one a little more. And my mom's best friend, who's a contractor, he also liked the second one more. And so I was like, that's fine. Easy peasy. And I now do like it more. I think I had fallen in love with the first house like too quick. And now I'm like.
But you guys, is it a done deal? Did you guys sign papers yesterday?
So we've done everything we need to do for like the loan. Buying a house is really fucking complicated. There's 107 steps.
There's too many steps.
I'm like,
and then there's like lingo that they use, like escrow. Like, what do you mean? What do you?
Yeah, and Uncle Sam, get out of my asshole, please. Why are you so concerned? Like, there's this whole thing because I'm gifting, but like my contribution is like money for the down payment, but I'm not technically part of I'm not a part of the loan approval process. I will be on the title to the house. It's a whole thing. But because I'm self-employed, that's added, basically would have hurt us instead of help us, to put me on. And so I have to gift Josh this money, but it's like I have to get a check and it has to be, and so now I have to order checks and ask, like, it's this whole like 100-step process that it's like, it's going to take a while. But apparently our date to close is December 23rd.
Oh, Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas to me. One month away.
Yeah. I have no idea. But also think about this. Something that costs that much money. Imagine if it was just a swipe of a card and be like, oh, you're good to go. I guess it is kind of good that there's these multiple steps. Yeah. That ensure that we're buying like a decent home. Right.
But we also just found out that there's some termite damage. So there's still like.
Welcome to homeownership is what I've heard.
Sucks.
You'll be dealing with that shit fast.
I know. So, it happened really fast. But really what helped us in the end was like, we aren't buying a home that like someone is trying to sell because the market's crazy right now, or someone's trying to sell because they are moving into another home. Mm-hmm. This is an estate situation, so it's owned by the kids because their parents have passed.
Got it.
So they really just want to be rid of it. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to offer way less than asking because, like, in order for us to be able to like do the renovations it needs, we couldn't like get to we needed to offer less, and it happened so quick because they accepted our first offer, which was $15,000 below asking price.
Hell yeah.
So that was great for us.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's another thing I've heard in buying houses. Like, don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to write a note. Don't be afraid to just fucking ask the owners if it's like for sale by owner, or, just put it out there. Put out the feelers for 15,000 less than asking price. And like, what can hurt? They're going to say no, and you just keep bumping it up.
Right,
like
exactly. Yeah.
I feel like that's a good takeaway.
Yeah. So,
but I'm excited for you guys.
I'm excited too, but it is very overwhelming. Like yesterday, Jess and I tried to record, but it was a day, and Josh was having a bit of an episode because he couldn't find something.
What did we call it? A 6 episode?
Yeah.
He was
the
down
sickness.
with the sickness.
Sickness, dude. He just, and
Relatable.
Joe is this way too, but if you're also a 6, please advise. It's when they lose something or they can't find something that like unravels their sanity until it's just.
I was thinking about this.
It's animalistic.
I was thinking about this on the drive home, but it's important documents too that measure their level of adultness or responsibility. And that's what is, I think, triggers Joe. Is like, it's tax paper. He's like, I need to be more organized. Like, I'm an adult man. Like, I need to have this, you know? And it's that where it's like that, like negative self-talk to come with it. And then it's just pure panic.
Yeah. But Josh just like texted me, I can't find it. I get on the phone with him. I'm like, did you check your folder? Oh my God,
yeah.
And just a long silence as he's like walking to the kitchen, and everything was in his folder because we have like our important document kind of folder in the kitchen. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Joe's-
and I just wondered, I'm like, how long were you stewing with those bad feelings? Like, and then you bring me into that place and I'm just like, hey, like what if instead you woke up in the morning and were like, I need to look for these documents. I don't know where they are. Why don't I text Rachel to see if she would know where to look? Before you get to I can't find them. They're gone. We're not going to get this house. Everything's
That's so
lost.
funny that you would love to be a part of it in the beginning. I feel like think logically first, you know, but it's just not in their nature because it's immediate panic.
Right.
I mean, at least in my experience.
But like, what's better if when you're getting ready, you know, to leave, having Joe say, hey, have you seen my wallet?
I'm out. I'm moving so fast out that fucking door because I know where's my wallet turns into.
Versus they're ready. They're like, I can't find my wallet anywhere. And then the panic has made them blind to actually looking.
I'd rather not be a part of it. I'm so serious because like I feel like he handles things better when I'm not there. I don't know. Or he does it and I don't know about it. But he can at least go through his whole cycle without it affecting me.
I don't know if he handles it better, but you just don't see it.
Yeah, I prefer it that way. Dead ass. I mean, if we're talking about down with the sickness, and I left you guys on a cliffhanger, I said until this issue is resolved, I'm not here to talk about it. But Joe had to take his driver's test. And yes, the written temps test. And yes, the full maneuverability drive around the block with a fucking instructor driver's test.
So don't be waiting too long to renew your license.
That's
kids.
Exactly what happened, you guys. He thought he had what he called a COVID extension. And he hit that extension snooze button a little too long. And he had an expired license. So in Ohio, if you wait 6 months, over 6 months, you have to retake your entire test. And when I tell you the panic that set in when he found that out. Oh. And to me, when I heard it, I was like, bruh, you've been driving for like 15 years. You're straight. You're good. You're good, dude.
Yeah, this is weird, but let's not put any more thought into it.
No, let's not tell anyone either. But here I am talking about it. But it was an entire panic attack about I'm irresponsible. I'm an adult. How did I let this happen? You know, I do everything right, but I can't handle this shit, blah, blah, blah. And also he was like, Jess, I don't know if you understand the trauma that driving test put me through. I'm like, I know you have a lot of anxiety. I know this sucks, but like, I really think if you just trust, you know what you're doing. You've really been driving forever. This should be a breeze. So yes, we did set up cones in the church parking lot.
Oh, thank God. Did he whip it right?
He was whipping at first, and he was really
he didn't hit the nay quite.
He was absolutely panicking. He's like, Jess, can't fucking do this. I really can't do this. I'm like, do the mirror trick. You know, I was just trying to just slow down, bruh.
The only thing that helped me was like, I remember, you know, they gave you the arm down, do this. That was such bullshit because I'm like, I remember actually getting stuck in my friend's driveway where I needed to like get around someone. And it was after I had already passed my test, but I was like, this is what they were trying to teach me, which is just like know my surroundings in a car. But instead they're trying to teach me a formula to get around cones. I'm like, just look. That's just looking, believe it in God a little bit, you know, just really get around there.
Put the faith where it needs to be. But really, it's just like knowing which way a car moves in reverse and how you move your steering wheel. But that's why I'm like, trust you know how to do this. And he was just thinking too hard about it. But remember all those rules. It was like when in maneuverability, when I had to take the test, it had to be like one swift motion. You couldn't stop. Yeah. And when he got in there, the lady was like, yeah, things are a lot different. You're allowed to use your backup camera. You're allowed to start over. You know, you're allowed to stop in maneuverability to move your wheel and then continue to back up. And that was like a no-go for us. It was like, it had to be one fluid motion. Yeah. And it's just way more lax. Allowed to use your backup camera. I'm like, dude, we just got this brand new car with the best backup camera. Use that and you'll fucking pass. It was just, even the morning of, like, he was down bad, man. He was it was so bad. He's like, I just want to get this done. He's like shaking. Oh my God. Absolutely shaking. And I'm like, don't fuck this up, bro. Oh. Just get it and be done. So yeah, we had to deal with that. And the only reason I couldn't talk about it is because he hadn't seen it through yet. That's what you said. Joe's got to see this one has to see it through, my guy. And yeah, he did.
And you survived it.
Almost.
Send a little like love or Venmo money to the people that are partnered up with sixes.
We've been going through it
during these stressful times.
It was a mess, right? It was an absolute mess.
But it's funny because like even though Josh is like sometimes very annoying with this stuff, truly no one on earth I'd rather do it with. And I am thankful that like I have seen Josh's growth and being like before something like that, like something going wrong or things getting lost, like it would ruin his day, like ruin it. Like maybe he wouldn't be able to get out of bed. He would just be like crippled with anxiety, and he can pivot so much better now. And he really never takes it out on me, which is nice. Good. So he's like, I just take it out on myself. And I was like, yeah, have your own internal war with yourself, but don't bring it here.
Good for you.
Don't bring it here, sis.
Wish I could say the same. Well, we've been working through it. We'll get there one day. Get there one day. Are we getting into the meat?
I guess it is. It's that time.
Yeah. All right. What is the meat? Is what? How COVID is the worst thing in the world? How shitty it is?
Right. This was actually submitted to us as an idea of like how COVID has affected weddings. And I think also like we want to touch on like how COVID has affected humanity in general. But of course we can kind of speak on like how we've seen like trends change. Like I think certain etiquettes have been thrown out the window. Yeah. And different stuff like that. And from a professional's perspective, that's kind of like really what was coming to my mind. Yeah. About like how like a small business changed.
Everything. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Who's like income is dependent on if these huge gatherings with people, you know, how that's still going to function or what that's going to look like. So yeah, you want to start us?
Sure.
Start us off.
I mean, I think in general, like if we're talking weddings specifically, I think that COVID has given people the opportunity to scale back and not feel bad about it. And I do hope that stays a thing that people continue to do. I don't know if it will. But really, I mean, I've had couples say that because of COVID, they had their dream wedding. Oh. Because they were able to only have 50 people and not have to invite their whole extended families. And it was exactly what they wanted. And when they originally started planning, like their parents were taking over. And then they, you know, I had people go from like a ballroom wedding to a backyard celebration.
Oh, I know. That's kind of how it was in the beginning of the pandemic for me. Yeah. Because to be honest, a lot of my weddings stayed the same. Like no one canceled and they all just like looked really different. Yeah. So there was like a backyard wedding. It was my first wedding of the pandemic and they moved to the backyard and it was one of my favorite weddings that I've shot to this day. Yeah. And it was awesome. And I also think like with that, it's you know, more like sustainable stuff. Like people are thinking like, okay, what can we do to like cut costs, but in a more sustainable way, like for the environment? And I've seen a lot of that. Like I've seen so much fake flowers made by the bride.
I have seen that too.
And that shit looks good.
Yeah. And I would never hate on that.
Yeah.
Weird flower tangent. Here's something. Guys, stop. I think what's important when you're looking for a florist is to make sure your bouquet is not going to be that heavy. Because
these bouquets get bigger and bigger.
Literally at my wedding this last weekend, the bride wasn't holding her flowers for full bridal party photos because she's like, she was freezing, but she's like, this is just too heavy. Like, I don't want it. She's like, I don't care. And I know she won't care later.
But you know what's funny is that we shoot weddings for a living, and I would say like 99% of the time the bride's like, I'm done with it.
I'm done with it.
I'm done with it.
Too heavy.
Not only that, but it's just kind of like annoying. It's a thing that, you know, you don't have to have, but it's nice to have something to do with your hands as you walk down the aisle. Like,
for family photos too. I ended up giving my bride this weekend, her name's Taya, but a bridesmaid's bouquet for family photos.
Yeah, just so it's a nice plug-in.
Yeah, I think like big bouquets have been such a thing, and like obviously I love them. Like, I mean, you had a giant bouquet; it was so cool.
I also have giant hands, so really, I had no issue like palming it in my hand. Yeah, but like smaller brides are like, this thing is huge. I'm like,
and heavy. It really is heavy. So that's just something to keep in mind. Like, I think now, like, whenever I get married again, I'd go more for like the loose and whimsy kind of thing versus something like big and chunky, because they are really like, it's not something you want to hold for any longer than you have to.
Never forget when I passed it to the smallest human in the world, Michelle. There's this picture of her just like trying to wrangle this thing, and it just engulfs her entire body. It's so funny.
It is so funny, but that is just a random tangent.
Yeah.
But, I don't know how we got there. Oh yeah,
a random flower tangent.
Yeah, random flower tangent.
Also, I have this that I see this trend just decreasing as it is, but receiving lines.
Oh God, yeah.
Also, do we hate receiving lines because we're photographers and we want to keep the timeline going? And this is like one of those things where it's like we hate to wait for it, or is it just like a trend that we're doing away with in general?
I think it's a trend that we're doing away with in general. Like, literally, that's happened before COVID. I think for me, like I've seen them less and less.
Me too.
But it's also like, it's just not the time to do that. It's like, you just got married. Just go have a moment. Don't be like shaking everybody's hand.
I think it's like a pastime. I don't know if we've talked about this on the pod.
It's definitely a church thing. I don't think I've ever seen a receiving line at a not church wedding.
I mean, we always tell like our couples like, get out of sight, because people are just going to attack you and you're going to be stuck in a receiving line you didn't even mean to have.
The longest receiving line I've ever seen was 45 minutes.
Hell no.
Yeah. So
I get it. It's like touch base with every guest, but what would you rather have, receiving line or table to table?
Honestly, me probably receiving line, because
it is a little quicker.
But
table to table is just exhausting.
It's stupid. I hate seeing. I mean, it's necessary. I get it. But my bride this weekend, Taya was great. She got on the mic before. She was like, "Thank you guys, everyone, for being here. We appreciate." She goes, "I'm not gonna go table to table, but please grab me on the dance floor."
Yeah, I love.
Like, she's like, "I'm not." She said that. She's like, "I'm not gonna do that. Don't wait for me. I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
And like they end up doing it because like things run behind, but she did not want people to expect her to like hover over them while they're eating their steaks. You know, it's just kind of awkward.
I know.
Yeah. And I think in general, COVID has just like given people this like freedom or like the inspiration to do things differently, because I mean, and weddings are all about trends, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so like a trend that has come from COVID is like small ceremonies.
Yeah.
Like only inviting like a small group of people, because a lot at the beginning of COVID, like if it was in a church, like the churches would only fit a certain amount of people. But I think that's translated. Like I have a wedding next year where they're having like 40 people max at their ceremony at a different location, and then everybody's just coming to the reception.
Nice.
And that's happened at a couple of my weddings. And I think now, like, they're not the couple that's like doing that for COVID reasons, but just they saw it done and that was like, oh no, I would do that.
Makes more sense. It's just like whatever their personal preference is.
Yep.
Especially for ceremonies. Like, I like smaller ceremonies. It's one, more intimate, less eyes on you that you're thinking about, it's just more intentional.
Yeah. And I think from a professional's kind of standpoint, it's lucky for us, but like video and like people's focus on that has gone up a lot.
Yeah.
I think that just comes with like memories and making memories and capturing them.
Just having a new perspective on life with COVID in general. Just like, obviously it's just, detrimental to families and people who have lost people. And it's just like, count your fucking blessings, and like people are just taking family time, a little more seriously, just hugging your family members a little tighter, that kind of thing. And I feel like that's kind of carried into weddings.
Have you felt like as a professional that like COVID has made you like approach weddings differently, like from what you're documenting? Like,
oh yeah,
I felt. I mean,
that kind of goes with like new perspective. But yeah, I can just tell, like, especially, being somewhat of an empath, you just know when people feel different things towards different people, or just like, also with like older grandparents, we talk about this all the time. Like, is it fucked up that I like am taking pictures of everyone because I don't know when they're gonna die?
Yeah.
Like, I think about
every
that
old person. I'm like,
all the time. I'm like, I'm getting portraits, fucking headshots of every old person in this joint so they can use when they pass away. I know that's really fucked up and morbid, but I just think about that like we're in charge of that. That is not like our duty, but it's also like, it's something really, really nice to offer people. And I think people are really touched by that. I don't have like a full on fucking session with these people, but if there are grandparents dancing, you bet your ass I'm like in their fucking business, like just trying to capture memories. And that's kind of me documenting, which I think you and I both kind of do, is like a documentarian style, right? So we're just taking things as it happens, and that's like a part of it. You're just queuing into that kind of stuff on your day.
And I think that also comes like with the maturity of like being a photographer for a while, because I definitely feel like when I was first getting started, like I wanted the like Insta worthy photos. I wanted the portraits. I wanted to do all these different poses. And like literally Madison and I booked a wedding basically because we were talking to a bride. And like, they were having Catholic wedding and ballroom, reception. And there's like a 4-hour break in the middle. And I was saying like, really, I want to get done with your photos as soon as I can so you can start living your day. I'm like, I'm aware that like more than 30 minutes of portraits on your wedding day, you're not going to need it and you're not going to want it. Like 9 times out of 10, you were just going to want to get the pics and get going. And I was like, I started saying, I was like, we've dropped like party buses off at Masthead. Everybody gets pizza and beer. And just like the bride in general was pretty like low energy in general. Like we could tell that she like hated this, like hated planning and all of it. And her eyes lit up for the first time when I said, I was like, I don't want to be in your face longer than I have to be.
Yeah.
And it was just like, she's like, I'm so glad you're saying that, because
absolutely,
like, I think what comes with like more, like it's about being more than a photographer. It's like, I want to help curate your day. I've been saying curate your day quite a lot, of like, make it a day for you and like have it be like custom to who you are and what you want to do. Because really in the end, it's like, I'm here to capture your memories. I don't want your memories to be taking photos on your wedding day.
Right.
I want them to be living at your wedding day. And I think for sure, like partially COVID, especially like the focus on grandparents and loved ones, and making sure I do take the extra minute to put grandma in her place and take a post photo, because that's what we want. Like we want to do that, but also just making sure that I keep my perspective right, that like their wedding is not for building my Instagram portfolio or building, it's about their day. And I think that comes with like maturity,
experience.
And also just like I'm at the point in my career where I don't have to like worry about inquiries.
Right.
Versus like people that are like, oh, I didn't get, they're taking, like, it might take you a little longer to get that perfect shot that you want. And that comes with experience. But Yeah.
But like letting go of that pressure on yourself too, I feel like has been kind of freeing, and that like this is their day. This is what they wanted, like with, the help of photographers and other vendors helping curate that day, and taking it as it comes and not trying it to be this extra thing, for your portfolio. Just truly like it might be small and kind of, not extravagant or not Instagram worthy, but that's their day.
That's their
and
day.
that makes it just as important to them,
Yeah. Like I shot a wedding recently for a couple who like I was the most expensive part of their entire wedding, probably other than like venue and food, right? It was like their priority was me, and that feels really fucking good.
Yeah.
Where it's like, who gives a shit if it's like Hobby Lobby centerpieces and like whatever the fuck else? It's like
it's our job to capture it and to put a dope spin on it.
Right.
In my opinion. I feel like I just had a similar wedding just like that. And I was like, you understand it and you're like noted and like you're like, all right, I'm gonna give you nothing but my best.
What you can't do is skimp out on a photographer and, hire someone for super cheap and expect them to deliver you beautiful photos because your wedding's beautiful. I think that's a big misconception, is like, oh, like the venue's perfect, everything's perfect. We like it would be hard to make it look bad. We're just gonna go with But it's like that's not how it works.
No,
at all.
And you'll
know.
You'll
know later. But I think like perspective is a huge thing from like on our end that has changed. And like another thing from I think a professional's perspective, and I think all small business owners can kind of relate to this, is like I tightened the fuck up after COVID like happened. Because it was just this realization of like my contracts didn't protect me for that. Like my contracts weren't protecting me for like clients that were rescheduling and then canceling and then rescheduling, and I'm turning down dates for their rescheduled dates. And so even now I feel like my policy is pretty not lax, but pretty forgiving, I'm gonna say. Like I get that shit happens, so like you get one rescheduled date and after that there are reschedule fees.
Dude, everyone was like, I'm dropping my reschedule fees. I'm like, I never had that. And also I didn't in my business, I just didn't feel like it was right. Like everyone had to reschedule or like.
No, I didn't charge anyone. Well, because it wasn't in my contract.
Right.
That's what I'm talking. I'm like, my contract was not COVID tight.
Well, no. None of us even knew. Like we were definitely, all of us is just learning as you go. Every vendor, I felt like none of us have ever dealt with the pandemic.
Right.
So we're all just pivoting. We're all just kind of learning as we go. Even like caterers, like, Gloria at my wedding was like, we're taking it as it comes. Whatever mandate comes out, we're just gonna keep, we'll put these in individual packages or we won't, we're just moving with it. We still got the show goes on, And I feel like that's kind of how everyone was, acting.
But I mean, there were like plenty of photographers, that I'd heard of that were getting sued because they were trying to take extra deposits or extra money on top of people scheduling. It wasn't in the contracts, but then, photographers were threatening to like get rid of their date. And it was just like this whole like, don't be an asshole. Like, but still at the same breath, it's like, I think you have to know what people are, you have to get everybody on the same page. So like, I won't feel bad about enforcing a boundary if I know that they have agreed to it.
Right.
When they read the rescheduling like policy, they've agreed, they've signed, and I can point them to that. Like, hey, I'm sorry. I know the situation sucks. But this is what you've agreed to.
Yeah.
And like, it is hard. And, but I think it's made me a better business owner in a lot of ways, because I think you do have to think about yourself. You have to think about yourself and the longevity of your business, and you can't just like set yourself up to be vulnerable in these kinds of like situations, because it's awful. It's an awful feeling when a global pandemic hits and you're like, that is 3/4 of my income.
Oh, yeah.
Because like granted, the fall of 2020 had like, it was almost normal because like COVID hit its lull because we had quarantined and done everything, and we beat the curve or whatever the fuck they were saying. And then fall hit and everybody was like, we're cured, weddings are back on. But like all my summer shit was gone anyway.
Yeah.
But it is what it is now.
And that was insane too, just to be a part of like of things opening back up, and weddings just like following zero COVID rules because everyone's in it for their money, especially the venues.
Oh God, yeah.
Which is, I think, another trend that we're seeing is that outdoor locations and a lot of tented weddings.
Yeah.
Because it's like that's more COVID friendly,
Yeah.
or I feel like that's just a trend.
And another like kind of note on venues that I just came to my mind. Normally barn venues or any outdoor rustic venues have a limit on when they'll take a wedding. I think you ran into this a lot because you were wanting to book fall weddings, but nobody would book past October, the last weekend in October. Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
One of my friends recently had a wedding at a newer venue, but it was still like an old barn. And when they booked it, they said, yeah, we're installing heaters. It was 2 weekends ago, which was freezing. It was literally like 38 degrees in Ohio. It was so cold. And they didn't install heating. They put in space heaters.
Stop.
But the slats in between, like there was big gaps in this barn that was like a circle shape.
Okay.
And it was just like vortexing this freezing wind. And that to be said, like when you're booking a venue and if you're booking a newer venue that's like, we're going to have this, get that shit in writing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not only get that shit in writing. If that doesn't happen, what happens?
Yeah.
How much of a refund are you getting? How much compensation are you getting? Like, because there's nothing you can do when you show up on a wedding and it's unseasonably cold that day and there's no heat.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Oh yeah. Like I think people had to run out and buy blankets and stuff.
I find like that is like the most complained vendor.
Venues always.
Venues are just real
get away
shitty.
with so much shit.
They can. And like, it's always like, is there a coordinator here? Yeah. Where is she? Nobody fucking knows.
Nobody knows.
Because it's just a day of coordinator and they have bare minimum jobs.
Yeah. I've had some, I've probably talked to, I've had some shit about vendors. Also worked with an asshole DJ recently.
Stop.
Who told us that, asked for permission, real nice, right? To video. They were doing this first dance kind of thing and they had, the smoke machine and the sparklers. And so, but he was like, yeah, it's for our website. Like I'm never able to get like clips from videographers. So we just need it for our website. There's no service there, but I should have looked him up right away. No, he delivered it to our client.
What?
And put it on his Instagram. Like,
wait, like
a
reel, not on
reel.
his phone?
No, on a camera. But I was still kind of like, if you hired this guy to take this for your website so people can see what it is, but no, he does it for his social media. Your website and your social media are not the same thing.
Oh my God.
DJ asshole.
Oh my God.
And technically that goes against our contract. Like for you to deliver a like, and of course, like I can't blame our clients. Like it's their wedding. Of course they want to see it and
any
share
footage.
it.
Yeah.
But that DJ also owns videography. So because they get to deliver it the next day because they don't actually give a shit about, like they're not putting an audio or cutting it together or whatever. They'll get jobs from that now.
Wow.
So down with fucking DJs. Only book Aaron and San. Forever. During one of my consults recently, I for probably 5 minutes, I talked about Aaron and San. So I really need to get my shit together about that because I'm obsessed with them.
It's the only DJs we want to work with. So
yeah,
sorry about it. We're package deal.
But yeah, I hope this isn't like super depressing episode. I hope this is lightly interesting for people.
Hopefully.
Did you have any more like COVID thoughts on
No,
weddings?
I feel like we touched them all. I just really wanted to hone in on like perspective shift and like obviously like people are downsizing with everything.
Yeah, downsizing. Yeah.
That's just kind of better.
Right.
And like you said, like our clients and people are like, oh, I couldn't imagine any other way.
Yeah.
Like that someone said who had a backyard wedding, they're like, I could not. I didn't even like the venue I was at. Like I couldn't even imagine it there.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like, did you have like a bunch of like half-seas now, half-seas later?
I didn't have a bunch of those.
Yeah.
No, I did a few of those, and it was kind of like, this is when that is what I felt like I was not protected for, because it's like
I should be charging.
I should be because basically you got 2 weddings for the price of one.
I agree.
Kind of
like we are doing more work.
Yeah.
Like we traveled out there, and I felt like I did that, I think, twice.
Yeah.
And was like, fuck it. Like, that's on me. I couldn't have prepared for this. I had no idea. Just also like trying to be a human with a heart over a business and being like, I know you couldn't, this is out of your control, but maybe have, planned a little better financially for that. But
exactly. But kind of before we like wrap up, I did want to kind of comment on just COVID for sure it's really interesting, like reading articles and going over how like COVID has affected our mental health, like consciously, subconsciously. I remember when I was looking for a therapist or a psychiatrist actually last spring. I couldn't get in anywhere. Like there were people, like I called probably like 15 offices. They were not taking new clients unless you went to this psych ward, unless you got admitted. That was the only way to get a referral to a psychiatrist. And then finally, like the last person I called was Coleman Professional Services, which is kind of like community services, like low income, but also like anybody can go there. But they were like, you need to go to a counselor 3 to 5 times before you get a psychiatrist referral. And I was like, oh my gosh, like I don't have time for all that. Like I was like, I have a therapist. Like what is going on? And she's just like, the woman on the secretary on the phone was like, we've never seen anything like this. Like the amount of people that need mental health services like we're not prepared for it. Like because I was like, okay, if I'm gonna do this, when can I get in? She's like literally it was like 4 months.
Yeah. Holy shit.
Wait. And it's like,
but I get it.
Right.
I get it. It's even back then, like I struggled in the quarantine when everything was shut down, along with, seasonal depression, which is something I deal with. And I feel like it was worse for me. Also, I'm just coming out of it. So shit's pretty fresh, but just coming out of it now with, like I said, the world going on around you and you having to be so isolated.
Right.
That along with like stigma and like kind of the stuff I dealt with my family and letting everybody know that the social stigma that went along with it was the hardest for me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, when do we just like forget that, like how it doesn't even matter like how minor or how big you got it. Like it's just, I don't know. I think the care about who has it is just kind of thrown out the window and people automatically think like, how did this affect me?
Yeah.
Or you got it. Moving on.
Or like, you must have been careless, or you must have not done this, or you must have done that, and they're like placing blame. Versus like they're trying to find the answer when it's like really just like sucks. It's just a shitty situation, and like you're vaccinated. You've done everything that's expected of you. If you're in a business that requires you to wear masks, you wear masks.
Yeah.
And like if you were to shoot with clients that would rather you wear a mask, you'd wear a mask. Like you're not being an asshole.
No.
You're just, living your life in the age of COVID, which is a gray area in general.
Yeah.
For the mass of society.
Yeah. Like you always, it's inevitable. You know what I mean? Like if there's nothing you can do besides, get vaccinated, protect yourself, stay away. But I wasn't going to stop living my life, and whatever it happens. But I feel like that's very interesting. There's a lot of factors that go into why, people get depressed after, before, and all of that.
Yeah, like I think like they're still studying like on if COVID, like getting COVID has long-term effects like on your mental health, like just because of the illness. And like there's been some studies on that. And just I think especially when quarantine was so like hot and like just like PTSD, like I even think now like this weird subconscious thing that's been happening. Like if I'm watching a TV show, I will think, where are their masks?
I know. That's weird, isn't it?
Yes.
And sometimes Joe finds it so annoying when he watches a show and they do mask up, or like they are talking about COVID times or like living in the pandemic. And he's like, I watch TV to like escape that. You know, he watches TV for, you know, a nice, you know, what am I thinking of? What word? Escape.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You know, from reality. And he's like, I just find it cheap to be cheap writing. And I was like, dude, it's like
cheap writing,
that's
Joe.
Classic Joe. Pretends he knows everything about me being a producer or something. But no, I'm like, Joe, that's relatable. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like people are watching that and thinking that in their heads. You know, like, why aren't, you know,
and
they
I think
live
like
in a free world.
Like, you know, just to like add the like a last thing, like one of the more obvious things is like a reason why people are struggling is like loved ones are dying.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I like you mentioned a friend of yours who's like all of their grandparents have passed away this whole in this time and from COVID. It's like,
and he didn't get to attend the services because he had COVID at one point, and someone, his family member, so they just chose to not have a service or, you know, do it differently. And that's just fucked up.
It's traumatic.
It's so traumatic.
Yeah. And I think just be kind. Like, be kind to the people around you that have gotten sick, are just trying to do their best. And especially be kind to service workers who are having to deal with this and haven't gotten to take their masks off at work for almost 2 years now. Like,
and won't probably moving forward. But I did read something that Joe talked to me about, and I just am seeing more and more of. It's this like Danish term called hygge. And I'm
hygge or something.
I don't
HYGGE.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but it's kind of cool, and I do like it because it's like good for seasonal depression as well.
Okay.
Yeah, and it just means like it's like a term kind of referring to comfort, pleasure, and warmth in simple, soothing things, such as a cozy atmosphere or feeling of friendship. It says it encompasses a feeling of coziness, contentment, well-being found through cherishing the little things. And I don't know, I think it's a nice way to think about seasonal depression or being dark earlier. It's about creating the environment that's like comfy and cozy. And I'm a big vibes girl.
Yeah.
You know,
instead of focusing on just like the dark and the cold. Let's focus on the cozy.
Yeah. And so
focus
it's like
on the home.
Yeah. It's like lighting candles. It's making a shit ton of soup. You know, soup makes you happy, especially
Zaddy's only.
And Zaddy's, a shameless plug for Zaddy's again. I've had some few people hit me up.
I just thought of a great merch idea.
What, Zaddy's
like
fucking...
a can of like, you know, like Campbell's soup, but like change the label
to Zaddy's. I'm in on that. We have so many merch ideas.
We really do.
We should drop it.
We should drop merch.
We need to.
For all of our fans.
So many fans. Okay, some more things of... Well, how do we say it? I've seen so many different... It's like hygge is how I've heard.
Let me see.
That's the last.
How?
Anyways, comfy clothes above all else. You know, just matching sweats, nice little sets, fuzzy socks, lots of phone calls with friends. And I'm talking about this because this would be good if you guys are down bad with COVID. Just create a cozy environment and make the best of it. I wish I would have now just like done more, like light more, put some string lights up, you know, do some, you know, online shopping for other people, reading books, creating just a cozy environment.
You were just in a bad place during that.
Wasn't in a good one.
Okay, let's see how this is pronounced.
Hygge.
Hygge.
That was close.
Hygge.
All right, guys.
Hygge.
Cultivate more hygge.
Did you watch any good TV though when you were?
I watched everything.
You're a TV girl now.
I'm a big TV girl. I just watched that Mindy Kaling show last night. Obsessed. Like with Sex in College or whatever that is.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's on HBO. So good. I watched everything. So I'm trying to think of some notable.
Josh and I finished Squid Game.
Whoa, you're late to that. It was fucking good. I mean, I kind of trailed off at the end, but at the end, I felt like this would make a better movie. I also felt like you knew the end because of how
the person who it was about. It was like, this is so weird.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
This.
No, I think like people were just like, I mean, that first scene of the games, you know, with a girl turning around and just like that games aspect, everyone was really just fucking into. The storyline could have used some work. Yeah. But nobody expected it to blow up. It wasn't even supposed to. Like, it wasn't supposed to be some awesome fucking writing. It just happened to be like a concept that no one in America has done.
If you've ever watched any like Korean movie or like
did you watch the dub, like it dubbed in English, or did you watch?
I watched. We did subtitles.
Good.
But like Parasite,
fucking good, unreal.
I'm sorry, Koreans, are you all right,
dude?
There's
but they just
some twisted stuff.
But they take it to the next level.
They
but
do.
like, which is what we want, and I feel like that's what like American horror and psychological thrillers is like what we're not getting to. Like, we're doing the same stuff.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like Korean TV is just, or, movies are just like thinking outside the box and coming up with like fucking crazy concepts that we haven't seen. It's great. Big fan.
It's crazy. But
I'm trying to think of some other shit that I watch. I mean, I watch everything.
I'm waiting for you to watch Love Island.
Pass.
Jess,
Also,
get into
Scenes from a Marriage. Ready to cry. Get into it.
What is
fucking HBO Max? It's about this couple that is going through a separation, and it's
I think I might have seen clips of this on TikTok.
Heart-wrenching, but very good. Those actors are insane.
They're actors?
Yeah.
Oh, it's not a real thing?
Jessica Chastain and hot guy.
Oh, then
old hot guy. I forget his name.
Okay, so it's a show. It's not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Trying to think of some other stuff, but maybe I'll. But the new Mindy Kaling, very good. That's new and hot topic.
Is she acting in it?
No, she created it.
Okay.
It's about these girls who go to college, and it's just fucking accurate. I know you missed out on this era of your life, but you can relive it
vicariously through.
You can, because it's
I like to try.
Scary accurate. It's just fun. Very
well,
funny.
Jess, I'm glad to have you back. I'm glad you're getting your senses back. Your olfactory's healing.
Olfactory's
hopefully no nerve damage like me.
Yeah. I pray I don't.
Hope you don't get any poopitration.
No poopitration for me. I'm manifesting that. And
Josh joined a parasomia. I think that's how it's pronounced. Facebook support group.
He texted me like, "Hey, I heard you're down bad with COVID. Just hope you feel better." And he said, "I hope you don't get any poopy traders." like poopy and then like trader TRAITORS. I was dead. I was like, I fucking love you. That made me smile in my COVID depression. Well,
anything to put a smile on your face, Jess.
Thanks. Well, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. Get those Black Friday deals. Yes. Get after it today. Okay? And support small biz.
Small Business Saturday.
Support small biz, aka buy a gift card from us.
Come to my mini sessions in Akron.
Oh yeah.
You should too.
I know.
Break the dogs.
I am. You don't think we would?
I know.
They'll pee and poop everywhere.
Okay, guys,
everybody, thanks for listening. Go. We love you. Happy Thanksgiving.
We out.
Fuck your life.
What?